What's up, guys? So today we're going to be doing a video on how to properly use a torque wrench. So I know this is kind of more of a basic video, but not everyone knows how to use one, and I figured everyone's got to start somewhere. So Tekton reached out and sent out their new split beam torque wrench. So we're just going to talk about the torque wrench, kind of how to set it, how to use it, and then kind of compare it to the older version that I used to have. Huge thanks to Tekton. Definitely check them out if you guys want to get yourself a nice torque wrench. But we'll kind of maybe compare the two differences. So obviously the torque wrench, you set the torque wrench to whatever torque you need to have your lug nuts set to, or pretty much anything set to. Today we're specifically going to be talking about your lug nuts and your wheels, but you can use a torque wrench to torque any nut or bolt. So basically with the TJ, I always set mine to 100 foot-pounds. If you have something different, usually online or in your manual, there'll be a specific torque spec for whatever vehicle. So always check the torque spec on what it is properly. Usually with wheels, I'm usually around 100 foot-pounds. So anyway, so how the split beam works is kind of neat. On the older torque wrenches, which is kind of like this, you have to unlock them and then you can screw them clockwise to get them to go to a higher torque setting, or counterclockwise to get a lower torque. Then you lock it. With their new split beam, much easier. You flip this lever down, and then all you do is turn this dial, and there's a nice analog dial here that you can set it to 100, and then you flick this forward, and you're good to go. What's actually really nice too is I used to have to use an extension with the other torque wrench, because this one has a slight bend in it. You can bend it out just a smidge to get it to kind of angle out so I don't hit the tire, because these wheels are like a deep dish style wheel, so it's a little bit harder to get like just a standard torque wrench. So usually I would add an extension onto that. And then when you add an extension onto a torque wrench, you'll want to crank up the torque a little bit, because you will lose a little bit of that torque through that extension. So if I'm using an extension, usually I'll go like 5 pounds over. So instead of 100 foot-pounds, I'll do 105. But with this, actually, it works great. So my lug nuts have a key. So I'll just stick the key on here. And when I guess we'll kind of talk about taking the wheels off. You can take your lug nuts in any order you want off, but when you're putting your lug nuts on, I like to hand start the lug nut. So instead of using like a ratcheting wrench, just zipping them on, I like to hand start them, that we don't cross thread them. Once you're done with that, kind of get them all roughly on there, then you can kind of tighten them up. And what you want to do when you're tightening them, you want to do like a star pattern or crisscrossing. So we want to start at, you can pick any of the lug nuts. You'll start here and you'll just go completely across to the opposite, and then same thing, cut across. It kind of evenly puts pressure and torques it, so you're not going to get any weird, like if you do it here and here, it's going to be tight here, then it's going to pull it. This is kind of a little bit better way. I've always been taught that, so that's just kind of what I do. But anyway, so to use the torque wrench, we're going to set it to 100 foot-pounds, and then you're just going to, when you put the lug nut on first, you're going to get it relatively tight. Usually you probably won't be able to get it to the full torque spec, but you get it close. And then I have my key, so I don't need that extension like I was talking about, but you're going to set it on there, and you're just going to push down until you hear the click. Once you hear the click, you can come off of it, and then you can always, I usually double check it, so I'll do a couple clicks, so I'll hear it click, good. Click, it's good. We'll go to the next one here. Same thing. Click, good. So we're good. So you're going to do that, obviously, all of them. Another tip that I usually do, you don't necessarily have to do this, but when I jack the Jeep up, I'll jack it up, take the wheel off. When I put it back on, I'll kind of snug up all the lug nuts, and then I won't put the full weight of the Jeep down before I have torqued them. What I'll do is I'll get the tire slightly on the ground so that way it doesn't move, and I'll get the torque wrench and I'll torque it, and then I'll drop it completely down and then re-torque it at the very end. You probably don't have to do that. That's just kind of what I've just like to do, and that's just what I do. You don't have to follow that, but just another tip if you're a little bit more, I guess, thorough. I just like to do that. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much going to do it. This is a really nice torque wrench. I think it's like 140, 145 bucks on their website. I actually like this design better than the old school design that I had. It's much easier just to flip this down, set the torque, lock it, you're good to go. I really like that feature, and like I said, I haven't been able to break any of my Tekton tools yet, so definitely quality tool. And yeah, so I appreciate them sending it out. And anyway, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you found it helpful if you didn't know how to use a torque wrench. And if you did, I guess hopefully you just enjoyed the video. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.